Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. I want to do try a chapter video where you read the first chapter of multiple books to help you decide what you want to read next, except for I'm not going to be using books that I already own, but rather from the Book of the Month's picks for this month to help me choose what I want to pick for the month of August. And the reason why I want to do this try a chapter version is because I have noticed that sometimes I tend to judge a book by its cover, and I feel like you could miss out on a really good book that could be life-changing just because you decided to go with something that you are comfortable with or that you know. Anyway, the point is I'm going to be doing that, so I'll quickly show you their website where they have their 5 picks for the month of August. I have it here in the app, and the first book is The Pairing by Casey McKiston. Oops. That's a romance book, Like Mother, Like Daughter by Kimberly McGrate. That's a thriller. Hera von, I don't know why I always say fun. Hera by Jennifer Saint. That's a fantasy book. And The Wedding People by Alison Espak. And the last book is called Five Stranger by Kat Tang, and it's literary fiction. I'm not going to go into detail as to what the books are about because the whole point of this video is to avoid prejudices and to just kind of read a little bit and decide what you want to read based on your experience. And what I'm going to do is just try to show you the summary that they have on their website so that you know what the book is about while I'm reading the first chapter. So I almost forgot, I made myself a little matcha, so you guys can go ahead and make yourselves a matcha or a tea or a coffee or whatever you want to make yourselves, so you can sit back and relax and try chapters with me, and then yeah, hopefully discover a book that you might not have discovered. So I almost forgot to mention that I don't actually have the books yet, obviously, because I want to choose which one I'm going to read. But I have the samples that Kindle has on my Kindle, and not all the books were available there, so I also used Thalia and so I'm using my Tolino to read the other samples that aren't available on Kindle. I just said that like 3 times. I think you get the point, and now we can get started with the video. So I finished the first chapter of this book, and I guess I'm a little confused because it seems like it's about 2 guys who are best friends, but they have feelings for each other, so they decide to spend one night together, and that turns into more, and then they end up breaking up, and it's 4 years later. So I'm guessing this is going to be a second chance romance, which is definitely not my genre. I don't know if maybe that's part of being prejudiced, and if a way around that would be to in the future commit to read the whole sample of the book and not just one chapter, because that gives you very little information and then you're kind of forced to read what the book is about. But yeah, I'm not feeling it with this book with the few pages that I read. Yeah, anyway, a whole bunch of cartons back there, never clean stuff up. It's perfect. So I finished the second chapter, and I kind of like the book. So it's a thriller, which is always kind of hit or miss with me. The premise always sounds really interesting, but if it delivers or not, that is a question that needs to be answered. But what I really like about this book is called Like Mother, Like Daughter, so it's kind of about the relationship between a mother and a daughter, and I don't know why, but I really like those kind of books. What happens So what happens in this book is that in the prologue, it was only like 2 pages, so I read the next chapter. They're not really numbered, so let's just call them chapters anyway. And she talks about the fact that being a mother is so hard and that you never get it right. There's nobody that teaches you how to be a mother, and even if you think you got it right, then I don't remember what she said, but yeah, that intrigued me. And then turns out that the daughter, she's kind of like doesn't get along with her mom. She asks her for help, and when she shows up, because I think she's in college, so she goes back home because her mother called her and said, I need help. But when she shows up, there's food burning on the stove and her mother's not home. There's the smoke detector that's been going off the entire time. And then there's a bloody shoe under the couch. There's a pool of blood in the kitchen. So she calls her dad and says, Dad, I think something has happened to Mom. And that's basically, I think, what the book is going to be about, figuring out what happened to the mom. And I don't know, I have a feeling about this book. I like the writing, and I like I said, the dynamics between mother and daughter. So I think this might be the one, but of course, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and we're going to keep reading. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I really understood what was going on in the first, or I guess it was the prologue. It was really confusing. I know it was war, but there was just so many descriptions that I felt like I was reading the words over and over again and just not understanding. Like, it was just words. And I generally don't like books that are overly descriptive. There's just like too much detail, because I don't know why, but I just can't picture it in my head, and then it just feels so frustrating that I don't understand. So I don't think, but here's the other thing is, I've noticed that sometimes prologues are like that. They're so like abstract and vague and so full of detail. Just for the sake of continuity, I'm going to just leave it like that, that I only read the first, the prologue, and not keep going to see if the book gets better after that. But I think in the future, I really do want to read a little bit more of the books. So let me know in the comments if you think you agree with me. I should read more of the book. I should give the whole sample a chance. And how many books are left? I think there are 2 books left. Let's keep reading. So that was a really long first chapter, and there was a lot going on. So it's about a woman who shows up to a hotel, and she has to stand in line to check in. And it seems like everybody's there for a wedding. They're all talking about it. They're all guests except for her. We hear a lot of conversation from other guests. It kind of sounded a little, I forgot the word, superficial, which I don't typically like. And then, but there were some funny moments in the book. Like, for example, she says the bride gets a little bit of blood on her dress, and she says, the dress is ruined. And as 2 women who have bled on their underwear for the majority of their life, they know that there's no unruining it. And I think that's so funny because it's true. But I just don't like books. Like, this is reminding me of another book that I recently read called Amazing Grace Adams. And it sounded really good, but after a while, it was just like too depressing to see that she's kind of down and depressed. And in fact, in this book, it's even worse, because she says to the bride, when the bride finally realizes she's not there for the wedding, she says, so what are you doing here? And she says, I'm here to kill myself. Because she's divorced and she's, I don't know, sad, which I don't feel like me, where I am right now, where I'm having a hard time like staying motivated. I don't think that would be the kind of book for me, just because I didn't have a good time with Amazing Grace Adams, and that one wasn't even as bad. But I'm also really intrigued, and I think I would want to eventually read the book, just maybe not now. And that's the other thing, I almost like scratched myself. That's the other thing with this, is that sometimes right now in this moment, you're just like so sick of, I don't know, fantasy or romance, and they release the pics and you're like, oh, not another romance. It's kind of a little bit unfortunate if you ask me, but that's just how it is with life. Everything in its moment, everything in its time. I'm still giving the books a chance. I think that's better than just definitely discarding it from the beginning. And yeah, we just have one book left. I really like that. I love books where children are part of the story and we can see how they're just so endearing, and the way they see life is just so, I don't know, optimistic. But so in this book we see a father with his little girl, and they're going home and she's talking to him about school and all this stuff. And then at the end, when they're there, because I'm explaining it so badly, but the mother is working, so the father stays with the little girl in the apartment the entire time while they wait for the mother. And then when the mother shows up, she says, "I'm so sorry, I'll pay overtime." And I was like, overtime? Is he a babysitter? Didn't the little girl literally call him daddy? It's called 5-Star Stranger because I think this woman hires him to play this little girl's father, and I am so intrigued, and I definitely want to keep reading the book. However, I have what's the word? I'm limiting myself to one book per month because I don't want to keep buying so many books. I have so many books on my TBR. So I guess the choice now is between this one and Like Mother Like Daughter, because I really like that one too. And so difficult. Here's the thing, I sometimes think a book is going to be really good. It starts out really good, but somewhere in the middle it kind of gets bogged down. An example of that is The Husbands, I think the book is called. That one sounded so good because it was about a woman who one day realizes that she can make her husband disappear by sending him into the attic, and there's always a different man that comes back down, so she can choose. If she doesn't like this guy, she can just send him up to the attic. And then somewhere in the middle, it was just like too repetitive, too much, too dense, too, I don't know, kind of like made me get a little bit depressed. So I stopped reading the book. I DNF'd it, and I'm kind of scared that will happen again because I just barely got out of my reading slump. So I think I'm gonna have to go with the thriller, because like I said, thrillers can also be hit or miss, but they're also so kind of relaxing. You can just read and it'll just take you away like you're watching a movie or something. And so yeah, I think I'm gonna choose that one. But I really liked this. I think I definitely want to give it a try with the other book subscription, which is called Aardvark, and try it with their August picks. Let me know if you liked this video and you want to see that for the other book subscription or not. If you have other ideas of how I can integrate something more into this video. I had a lot of fun just reading the different chapters. I didn't even finish my matcha, almost, but yeah. Oh, and definitely let me know what you guys thought of the video, because this is my first video in English, and if it was understandable, or if you're all like, you're mumbling, we cannot understand you, what are you even saying? Let me know, write it all in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.